If you disabuse yourself of hate, then you would know that African sexuality has always been diverse. What the global village has done through the internet is simply to unveil this for us. Growing up, I saw feminine acting males and masculine acting females. I don't say that these were gay, lesbian or transgender. No. But this opened up my mind to the diversity. Sexuality is not binary and never will be. Gender too is not binary. All this is a spectrum. We should learn to accept it. The DAS podcast is here to demystify African sexuality. This is the first episode of Demystifying African Sexuality. Now, this is about queerness and parenthood. Podcast session number 1. We have Miss Cindy and we're gonna have a discussion and talk about everything queerness and parenthood. She's amazing and I can't wait for you to hear what she has to say. Sexuality is something that is so broad. Like, everyone discovers their sexuality along the way. Sometimes you think you're this, and then as you grow older you discover that maybe the things you wanted back then when you were younger are not the things you're interested in. So I need you to tell me about your background and personal journey in discovering your sexual orientation or discovering yourself as Cindy.
Thank you very much. I'm called Cindy. I'm a woman of 4 children, married with. My journey wasn't good, but all through my primary level, I've been a lesbian, that's what I could say, because I've been in a boarding school. It was a single school whereby we could write letters to our fellow girls, get them in the corridors, do that kind of squeezing, and I really had feeling for my fellow girls than men. Even when I could get my holidays, when I'm in my holidays, I used to stay around Bokoto. I used not to have feeling for men because everything that I could do, I was more or less like a man, even though if you look at my structure. Not until one day my parents called me. There were 2 in a sitting room and they were like, but everything you do, it's like of a boy. That's why they gave me a name. I'm called Boxer King. That's my nickname at home. If you ask for Boxer King, they will know you're asking for Cindy. Because everything I could do is like for a boy, like for a man. Now, I moved that journey from primarily, even when I'm in the community, like me, for example, in my society where I grew up from, everything of mine, I could vibe my fellow girls. I don't remember breaking off my virginity with a man. I realized my sexual orientation when I was already in campus. I remember, I think it was second year. That's when I had a partner and she was like, "You're an L." I was like, "An L? What do you mean?" I mean, it was not fun as such, but that was how I was feeling. We moved from the campus. That was my 3rd year. When I finished up my course in development studies, my parents were like, "Now, what else?" Because all I've been doing this thing without my parents notice. They didn't know, because during those days, there was no people peeping their eyes on you like nowadays. But it took my parents a long time to know that I am L. My husband is our family friend, that's what I could say. So my father was like, I have a daughter who has just graduated. So they connected me and because he was studying from abroad, when I met him, I'm like, but I should be open to this guy. I stood at the corner and I looked at him like this. I was like, now what is this guy going to do to me? Is he going to kill me or snatch my head at night? Because I am not about to accept him, like to have sex with him on a daily basis. Maybe it was really very hard for me. I accepted him and I was like, let me accept him to cover up that gap and the mind of my parents that yes, they got me this guy, but I'm going to get married to him, but but I have my partner. That partner of mine, we met at the campus. Up to now, we're all grown up people, but we still connect. When I got married to Odongo, I had to tell him about my sexuality. Then he was like, fine, if you're that, I'm okay with it, so long as you are going to respect me as your husband, deliver me all the services as a woman, and there's no problem if you're having your partner. I'm like, oh my God, is this a miracle or what? I loved him that day up to today. We have never got any loggerheads. We have never got any problem. And that's why I've gotten very many partners, but I still maintain the other pattern of mine because she has been there for me in several occasions. And being that I'm now a mother of 4, 3 boys, 1 girl, I don't know if I'll give birth again, but I don't know. But what I know, I have 4 children. How did I also discover that I'm a queer mother? Because I could do both sides. But alongside my journey, I have realized a lot of challenges.
You actually answered what I was going to ask you next about your relationship with your husband.
Yes.
And clearly everyone is at peace with you.
Everyone is at peace because
contented.
Yeah, very contented, because it was like it is normal. I've never seen you coming when you're naked, when you're crazy, shouting, oh, I've been here, maybe you are putting your breast on nothing. I've been okay. Despite that, there are some people who have started of late saying, but this woman, we have seen her somewhere for several occasions with her fellow woman. By the time they were going to tell him, he was already of the no, because I told him the very first day when we met about my sexual orientation. So I was on the safer side.
Okay. Can a queer parent raise an upright family? Does it matter? Does sexuality matter when it comes to parenthood?
Yes, very so. I have children. My firstborn is in L6. She's in St. Mary's Chitende. For several occasions, I have sat her down and have sexual education with her, but she seems to be a straight person. I just wanted her to, maybe if one day she could come up and tell me, Mommy, I feel I am this. I was going to be very ready, or I would be in a position to support her in that journey, because I have seen how my fellows have hardship in their journey, especially when you are being denied by your parents, your friends, generally your family, and the society where you're staying in.
Very interesting. So in the context of Ugandan society, what challenges do you face as a lesbian married to a man? Is there a certain way that people treat you, or do you talked about some people that suspected and they, confronted your husband. So what are some of these challenges that are down that road?
The very first day they confronted my husband, and they told him a lot of shit. They told him very many things. Being that we were renting in that area, we were not yet that we have bought our land, we have done what. I decided to tell him, you know what, Dad, let's shift away from here. We had to shift from, we were staying in that side of Chitoro in Entebbe, and we came to Kampala. And we started another new life in Kampala. But even before we shifted, it was very hard for me. I started hating myself. I was like, oh my God, I wish I could die, could bury myself. Like, I didn't want, if I'm moving and I happen to look at you and you're looking direct to me, I can't even stone you. That's how aggressive I was, because I don't want you to overlook at me. I mean, when you look at me, there's something you're studying about me. Something is telling you, oh, this woman is like this. Oh my God, such a beautiful woman, such a woman. One day I asked my husband, but am I beautiful? And he told me, yes, you have these fat legs. I'm the only that. Then I was like, yeah, and the gap here in my teeth. Those are the 2 things I want with you. I'm like, oh my God, but I think I'm ugly. There's no, you're beautiful. Look at your children. So, to hell with the other people outside, good enough.
Your people appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah.
People who are around me, they appreciate me the way I am, and I'm ready to go. But there are these kind of things whereby, for example, the stigma and the discrimination they put on you, especially when you're going for treatment. I remember one day I really dressed up like a man. I had many, I'd put some, like, it was 2 shots inside, so I was sick. So when I'd gone for treatment, they're like undressing myself. The guy was like, you're a woman, but you dress up like that. I was like, for you, how are you dressed up? Can you also undress yourself? Because when I was undressing myself, the guy was peeping at me, because I kept removing other things until, but just for a mere injection. That's why nowadays, for me, I don't believe in injecting me. Like me, I like just putting cannula in my hands here and then you can even see this is what I do.
Yeah,
I don't go beyond other things. Yes. Another thing, it's the way you move. When you move, they're like, you are kind of muscular, you're not in that woman shape.
feminine.
Yes, that kind of things. And I've seen me with this pattern of mine for several occasions. That's why I decided, I think, to have more 3 different patterners. Like, they could see me with this chick today, another time they see me with another one.
How does your family and immediate community perceive your relationship and sexual orientation, and have you faced any difficulties or discrimination as a result? Let's talk about your family already knew what was on ground.
Yes.
And they got you married.
Yes.
So what do they think of your relationship with your husband? Are there any challenges within there?
I'm a born of 8 family. We are all girls. Our one brother died at the age of 3 years, but we are all girls, 8. My father reached a time and was like, if people are talking about Cindy, that she's an L, she vibes her fellow ladies, fellow women here and there, and she's in her marriage. I've never seen her even one day packing her things and coming back here. I've never seen her. But these other ones whom we think they are women in their marriage, I've seen them several times. Actually, right now, 2 of them at home. And they're like, we are not going for any marriage anymore. And you know, when it means with the Japan dollar staying at home when you're a woman and you're already aged, that one means things have what? Things have failed. But they've never seen me going back there. So they were like, let her be. So my father was a great friend of mine. During time when he was about, I think, to age, like I'm seeing he's now becoming weak, I said, let me have a conversation with my father. By the time he's dying, he should know what kind of a daughter he's having. And actually, he confessed and was like, I wish I gave birth to you and you were a boy. You would do a lot of things in my family. I told him, Dad, you know what? I'm married to Dong, but I also have my pattern. I told him blank open because I knew he was going to do me nothing. He can't beat me. First of all, he's weak. I just wanted a conversation with him. And he said, well, go on. If that's what you feel, it makes you comfortable, go on. Because even I tell you now that change, when I die, you'll even turn and you even leave your marriage and you go and leave the children. So I accept you as my daughter. Continue the way you are. And I love you. And I love my dad. I'm the heir. And then there is Chibaito Omusika. Then Omukuza is my big sister.
What needs to change within the Ugandan society to create a more inclusive and accepting environment for individuals that identify as LGBTQ?
Well, I think in Uganda and the site where we are staying in, they should remove that what we call the myth of saying that when someone identifies herself or himself like a gay, a lesbian, and maybe a bisexual, they should accept us the way we are, because by the end of the day we are all humans, and it is very difficult to change someone. We are not just saying that we are cursed. We are not mentally disturbed upstairs. You can see me here. When I came here, did I fight? I am very normal. But if you tell a normal person that now, Cindy, you change, I think I would have done a lot of work outside there. Even within, I would have beaten the children to death, because someone is perturbing me, like someone is really disorganizing me. So if they could accept us the way we are, we could live a better life. And this thing of saying that this group is a group of community in such an area, let's go and attack them and maybe burn them, beat them up and all that. They should accept us the way we are. Yes.
What advice would you give to others who may be facing similar challenges or struggling with their sexual orientation in a society that may not fully accept or understand it?
My advice to them, first and foremost, to be accepted in a society, first accept yourself the way you are. Get few people around you who can give you that support. Once you have that support, you are good to go. But once you look at yourself and you're like, oh my God, you begin saying, oh my God, obanze nabachi, alabika wali andoga, bichi ebyo. Those things will keep following you, and you won't follow your heart. And even the people you're staying with in the society, they look at you as someone, sabagambyo oli omukyala mugwi waddalo anti mumulaba engeri gyayambademu. Nze even when I'm leaving the house and I'm decided to dress like a woman, I can march out and go and do my work and come back. Like, because I have a husband in the house who has accepted me the way I am. Even when I'm in the community with him, for example, I've gone maybe for a burial like that, I am next to him. No one is going to to put an hand on me, even to say something on me which is bad, that is going to contradict our relationship and other things. They should first accept what they are, and also to look for those friends who can give them support to move that journey, because it's all about moving on. But how are you going to move on? It's an island. What I've also believed in, an island is not building one with like, you cannot build an island alone. It can be like 2 to 3 to move on. Yes, so that you have that confidence within you.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for featuring Cindy.
Yes.
It's been an honor and a pleasure. You don't want to miss the interesting conversations on Demystifying the African Sexuality podcast. The DAS Podcast.